The communication came on a normal Tuesday morning. Commander Teo was drinking his coffee in the military base when the red alert sounded. He put down his cup and walked to the main communication room. The officers there looked scared. Their hands shook as they worked at the controls. Something big was coming. The message played on all screens across human space. A voice spoke in perfect human language, but the words were cold and empty. The Galactic Empire was real. They were big and powerful. They controlled thousands of worlds, and they had seen humans. They were not impressed. The Empire said they would give humanity a choice. They could fight a war, or they could fight in a different way. They wanted a tournament. 3 champions from humanity would fight 3 champions from the Empire. The winner would control the future of the human race. If humanity won, they would stay free. If they lost, they would join the Empire and work for them for 10,000 years. The message ended. The room was very quiet. Teo was 45 years old. He had been a soldier for 22 years. He had fought in 3 wars and survived all of them. He had lost friends and won battles. He knew what this meant. Someone had to fight. Someone had to win. Within 1 hour, the leaders of all human worlds met. They talked on video calls. They argued. Some wanted to fight a real war. Some wanted to run away. Some wanted to give up without fighting. But they all knew the truth. They were not ready for a real war with the Empire. No human army could win that fight. So they chose the tournament. The military leaders started looking for the best fighters. They needed 3 people who were strong, smart, and brave. They looked at soldiers, pilots, and fighters from every human world. After 2 weeks, they found their 3 champions. The first was Commander Teo himself. He was big and strong. He was smart in battle. He had won every fight he was ever in. Soldiers believed in him. Young people wanted to be like him. He was the kind of leader that made people feel safe. The second was General Heijun. He was older than Teo, 60 years old, but his mind was very sharp. He had studied war his whole life. He knew about all kinds of fighting and weapons. He had led armies to win impossible battles. People called him the smartest general alive. He had a plan for everything. He had never lost a war. The third was Pilot Dae-sung. He was young, only 32 years old. His hands were faster than anyone else. His eyes could see things that other people could not see. When he flew a ship or fought in close combat, it was like watching a dance. His body moved perfectly. His brain worked faster than normal people. He was the fastest fighter in the world. These 3 were the best humans had. They started training right away. They lived together on a special base. They trained every day, all day. They studied fights. They practiced with weapons. They worked with computers to understand the Empire better. They ate special foods to get stronger. They slept a lot so their bodies could heal and get ready. Teo trained harder than anyone. He wanted to win this fight so badly. He thought about his family, his wife, his children. He thought about all the people on all the human worlds who were counting on him. General Heijun studied everything he could about alien species. He looked at old videos of alien life forms. He tried to understand how different creatures moved and thought. He made plans. He wrote down everything. He thought about what the Empire would send as fighters. What would they send? What would be their best? Dae-sung just moved. He ran, he jumped. He fought training robots. His body became faster and stronger every day. His brain learned new things. He was ready to fight anything. The days passed. It was now 1 month before the tournament. The 3 champions were trained and ready. People on all human worlds prayed. People made songs about the 3 fighters. Children played games where they pretended to be Teo or Heijun or Dae-sung. Humans needed to believe. They needed to believe that these 3 men could save them. Then the Empire sent their message again. They would send their champions soon. The tournament would happen on a space station called Nexus Prime. This was not human space. This was not Empire space. It was in the middle, where nobody owned anything. The fight would be fair for everyone. When the Empire's champions arrived at Nexus Prime, everything changed. The first one was called Vexthor. When humans saw him on the video screens, they could not believe it. He was 4 meters tall. His skin was like crystal that glowed with blue light. His arms were thick like tree trunks. His body was covered with armor that looked like it could stop bullets. Plasma weapons could not hurt it. He walked like he was very heavy, and the ground moved when he stepped. Scientists said his body was maybe made of rock and metal mixed together. Nobody had ever killed a Vexthor. Nobody had ever even hurt one very badly. The second one made people feel scared in a different way. It had no body like normal creatures. It was a cloud of pink and purple light. It was called Shriek. People who looked at it felt strange in their heads. Doctors said it was a psychic being. It could hurt your mind just by being near you. It could make you see things that were not real. It could make you confused and scared. You could not touch it because it had no body to touch. How do you fight something like that? The third one was the most scary of all. It was called Olympus. It was like a god made of metal and machines. It had a body made of gold and silver. It had many machines inside. Scientists said it was a machine built to be a perfect fighter. It was faster than anything alive. It had weapons in its arms. Its brain was a computer made by the most intelligent beings in the Empire. It had fought in 3,000 years of wars. It had never lost a single fight. Never. Not one time. When humans saw these three beings, many people lost hope. How could three humans fight these things? It was impossible. But Teo, Heijun, and Daesung looked at the video and nodded. They were trained. They were ready. They had no other choice. All human worlds were watching. All human people were waiting. These three men had to fight. They had to try. The tournament would start in 3 days. The champions walked to the arena. The arena was a big room with walls of strong glass. It was built to handle any kind of fighting. The people watched on screens. Everyone was watching. Billions of people, all waiting to see if humans could save themselves, or if they would become slaves for 10,000 years. Park Mira was not watching the tournament. She was sitting under a big machine in the engine room of the Defiant, one of humanity's oldest spaceships. She had a wrench in her hand and oil on her face. Her name was on a badge that hung on her shirt. She was a maintenance mechanic. She fixed broken things. Park Mira did not care much about politics or wars or big decisions. She cared about machines. She cared about making sure the engines worked. She cared about fixing broken pipes and keeping the lights on. She had been doing this job for 15 years. She was good at it. She was the best mechanic on the ship. Everyone knew that. She was 38 years old. She had short black hair that she always tied back. Her hands were rough from working with metal. She had burn marks on her arms from welding. She had cuts and bruises that never really went away. She looked tired sometimes. She was tired. She worked long hours. But she was happy. She liked her work. The engine room was a big place. It had machines everywhere. Big machines and small machines. Pipes that carried hot water and cold water. Computers that controlled everything. Lights that glowed all the time. The room was loud. It buzzed and hummed and made sounds. Mira knew every sound. She could hear when something was wrong just by listening. Today she was fixing the coolant system. The coolant was getting too hot. If she did not fix it, the whole system could break. She was lying under a big pipe turning bolts. Her hands knew exactly what to do. She did not have to think about it anymore. Her hands just worked. A young mechanic named Minseo came and sat next to her. Minseo was 24 years old. He wanted to be like Mira. He thought she was amazing. Mira, Minseo said. Are you not watching the tournament? Everyone else is watching. Mira did not answer. She just kept turning the bolt. They are fighting right now, Minseo said. Commander Teo is fighting first. He is fighting Vexthor. On the screens it looks very big. Very scary. Mira made a sound that meant she heard him, but she did not stop working. Do you think they will win? Minseo asked. Do you think humans can beat them? Mira finally pulled herself out from under the pipe. She sat up and looked at Minseo. Her face was dirty. She was not smiling. I think I need to finish this work before the coolant system breaks, she said. I think that is more important than watching people fight. But Minseo left the communication screen on. Mira could see it from where she worked. She tried not to watch. But sometimes she looked up and saw the fight on the screen. The fight was over very fast. Vexthor was too big and too strong. Teo was brave. He fought hard. But he could not win. Vexthor just picked him up and threw him. Teo hit the wall. He did not get up. The fight was over in 3 minutes. Mira did not say anything. She went back to fixing the coolant system. The second fight came next. General Heijun fought Shriek. Mira watched this one a little more. Heijun was smart. He had a plan. He tried to stay away from Shriek. He tried not to look at it. But Shriek was everywhere. It moved like a ghost. Heijun could not touch it. His mind started to break. He started to see things that were not real. He fell down and did not move. The fight was over in 2 minutes. Mira's hand stopped moving. She sat very still. The third fight was Daesung against Olympus. Daesung was fast, very fast. He was the fastest person alive. But Olympus was faster. Olympus was a machine. It did not get tired. It did not feel pain. It just kept moving. Daesung fought as hard as he could. But he could not win. Olympus hit him once, just once. Daesung fell down and did not move. All 3 fights were over. All 3 humans lost. All 3 fighters were hurt very badly. Mira stood up. She walked to the communication screen. She watched the Empire's leader smile. They talked about how they had won. They talked about what they would do with humanity. They talked about how humans would work for them now. For 10,000 years, Minseo was crying. Other mechanics were crying too. Mira did not cry. She just watched. Then something happened inside her. It was like a fire starting. It started very small, but it grew and grew. She felt angry, not sad, not scared, angry. She had worked on this ship for 15 years. She had fixed every machine on it. She knew how it worked. She knew every pipe and every wire. She knew every system. She had made this ship work even when people said it was broken. She had fixed impossible things. And now she watched everyone give up. Everyone just accepted that they lost. It made her very angry. She walked out of the engine room. She went to the bridge of the ship. The captain was there. Officers were there. Everyone looked sad. "I want to go to Nexus Prime," Mira said. She was not asking. She was telling. "Why?" the captain asked. "Because I want to," Mira said. "That is all you need to know." The captain did not understand, but he gave her a ship. She took her old tool bag. It was made of leather and it was very old. She had everything she needed inside it. Wrenches, screwdrivers, a welding torch, other tools, the tools of her trade. She also took something else. A small device that could make things explode. It was in the maintenance supplies. She had used it before to break apart broken metal. She flew to Nexus Prime. It took 6 hours. When she arrived, she walked into the arena. Everyone was still there. The Empire's leaders were still smiling. Teo and Heijun and Daesung were being carried away on beds. The audience saw this old woman with a tool bag. She looked dirty. She looked tired. She looked angry. She did not look like a fighter. She walked to the center of the arena. She looked at Olympus. Olympus was a big machine made of gold and silver. It was beautiful and terrible, she spoke. Her voice was not very loud, but everyone heard her. "You want to fight somebody?" she asked. "Try me." The Empire's leaders laughed. This was stupid. This was funny. But Park Mira did not care what they thought. She put down her tool bag. She looked at Olympus with her angry eyes. "Every machine breaks," she said. "Every single one. I have been fixing machines my whole life. And I break them for a living." She took out her welding torch. It made a sound like fire. The fight was about to start. The fight should have ended in seconds. Everyone knew that. Olympus was a machine built to be perfect. It had never lost. Not in 3,000 years. Park Mira was just a woman with a tool bag. She was not trained. She was not a soldier. She should have been destroyed very quickly. But something unexpected happened. When Olympus moved forward to attack, Mira did not run away. She did not try to fight like Teo had fought. Instead, she pressed a button on her communication device. All around the arena, things started to happen. The gravity in one section of the arena turned off. Olympus stepped into this area and suddenly had no weight. It was not prepared for this. It stumbled. It was confused. Mira had studied the arena's systems. She had been on Nexus Prime for 3 days before the fight. She had walked around and looked at everything. She had found the control rooms. She had learned how to use the station's systems. Most people do not notice maintenance workers. Maintenance workers fix things. They work in the background. Nobody pays attention to them. But Mira had been able to look at everything. Nobody had stopped her. She was just fixing things. Olympus moved fast and got out of the gravity-free area. But it was confused now. Its computer was working hard to understand what had happened. Then the lights went out. Not all of them. Just the lights in the area around Olympus. Olympus had to use its special sensors to see. But Mira knew how to make those sensors not work very well. She had studied the arena's electromagnetic systems. She used them to make noise in Olympus's sensors. Olympus could not see very clearly now. Mira moved through the darkness. She knew the arena. Olympus did not. She had walked through every corridor. She had mapped everything in her head. She knew where the explosives were. She had hidden them in 3 different places. Not very big explosives, but enough to break things. She set off the first explosive near Olympus's left side. The explosion was not very big. It did not try to destroy Olympus. It just made a loud sound and pushed Olympus off balance. Olympus turned to find Mira, but she was already gone. She moved like a ghost. She knew where the shadows were. She knew where the machines were. She could hide anywhere. Olympus tried to use its weapons. It tried to shoot with the weapons in its arms, but Mira had studied Olympus for 3 days through the observation windows. She had looked at every part of it. She had seen where the weapons were. She had seen how they worked. She had noticed something that nobody else had noticed. The weapons had cooling vents. All weapons get hot when you use them. They need to cool down, otherwise they break. Mira had put special things around those cooling vents. When Olympus tried to use its weapons, the special things blocked the air. The weapons got too hot. The weapons stopped working. Now Olympus could not shoot anymore. Olympus got angry. It moved very fast. It wanted to hit Mira with its arms. It was so fast. Its computer controlled every movement perfectly. But Mira had one thing that Olympus did not have. She had years of experience fixing machines. She knew something important. She knew that all machines have weak points. Nothing is perfect. Everything has places where it can be broken. Mira had found these weak points in Olympus. She had studied its design. She had looked at videos of it fighting. She had noticed small things, the way it moved, the way its arms bent, the way it stepped. When Olympus tried to grab her, she moved to the side. She saw the weak point in its armor on its left arm. She had her welding torch. It was very hot. Much hotter than normal fire. She used it on the weak point. The armor started to break. Small pieces of metal fell off. Olympus tried to punch her. She moved under the punch. She saw the weak point in its right leg. She used her tools to hit it. Once, twice, 3 times. It was a place where 2 pieces of metal came together. This place was strong. But it was the place where Olympus could move the most. If you broke this place, Olympus could not move its leg properly. The fight lasted 1 hour. It was not like the other fights. It was not fast and loud. It was slow and careful. It was like a dance, a very strange dance. Mira moved and moved and moved. She used the arena's systems. She used her knowledge. She used her tools. She kept finding weak points in Olympus. She kept hitting them. She kept breaking them. Olympus tried to hit her many times, but it could not catch her. Its computer was working very hard, but it was not prepared for this. It was not prepared to fight someone who understood machines. Finally, after 1 hour of fighting, Olympus's system began to fail. Its left arm stopped moving. Its right leg could not support its weight. It had many small breaks in its armor. Many systems were damaged. The cooling system was not working. The internal temperature was getting too high. Olympus fell down. It tried to get up, but it could not. Its systems were broken. Its perfect design was broken. Its 3,000 years of never losing was broken. Mira stood over it. She was very tired. She was sweating. Her clothes were torn, but she was still standing. The arena was very quiet. Nobody could believe what they were seeing. Olympus had lost. The machine that never lost had been defeated by a woman with a tool bag. The Empire's leaders did not smile anymore. They did not laugh anymore. Mira looked at Vexthor and Shriek. They looked at her. They could see that she would fight them too. They could see that she would probably win. They could see that she knew how to break things. Vexthor and Shriek did not want to fight her. They said no. They would not fight. They gave up. The tournament was over. Humans had won. Park Mira had won. The Galactic Empire had to keep their word. Humans would stay free. The galaxy had changed in 1 hour, and it was all because of a woman. who understood machines better than anyone else in the world. Park Mira wanted to go back to work. That was all. She did not want fame. She did not want to be famous. She did not want to be a hero. She had just fixed a problem. That was her job. She fixed broken things. She was not special, but everyone else thought she was special. When she went back to the Defiant, there was a party. Everyone on the ship wanted to shake her hand and tell her she was amazing. She did not want this. She went straight to the engine room and started working on the coolant system. It still needed fixing. But people kept coming to the engine room. They wanted to talk to her. They wanted to know what she had been thinking. They wanted to know how she had known what to do. They wanted to know how she had defeated Olympus. She told them all the same thing. I understood the machine. That is all. I looked at how it worked and I found the weak points. I fixed the problem, but this was not enough. People wanted more. They wanted a big story. They wanted something amazing. The military called her. They wanted her to lead a new program. They wanted her to teach other humans how to fight the Empire's weapons. She said no. She wanted to fix the Defiance engines. Big companies called her. They wanted to give her money. They wanted to work with her. They wanted to make her rich. She said no. She wanted to work. The news channels came to the ship. They wanted to film her. They wanted to make a video of her working. She told them to leave. They did not leave. They filmed her anyway. She hit one of the cameras with her wrench. That got on the news too. After 1 week, she got a promotion. She did not ask for it. The military just gave it to her. She was now a chief mechanic. She had an office. She did not want an office. She wanted to be under the machines where she belonged. But she could not stop what was happening. The world was changing because of what she had done. Young people across all human worlds started to think differently. They had always believed that they were weak. They believed that stronger beings were better. They believed that powerful weapons were the only way to win. But Park Mira had shown them something different. She had shown them that understanding was more powerful than strength. She had shown them that knowledge was better than weapons. She had shown them that you could win by thinking, not just by fighting. Young humans started to study engineering. They wanted to be like Mira. They wanted to understand machines. They wanted to learn how things worked. Schools started teaching more classes about science and machines and computers. Military schools changed their training. They started teaching soldiers about how machines work. They started teaching them to think like mechanics. They taught them to find weak points. They taught them to understand their enemy systems. People started saying a phrase all over human space. What would Park do? Or just think like Park. Scientists came to Mira and asked her questions. They wanted to know her methods. They wanted to understand how she thought. She told them the same thing over and over again. Look at the machine. Really look at it. See how it moves. See where it bends. See where the parts come together. Everything has weak points. You just have to find them. But scientists wanted more complicated answers. They wanted her to use big words and explain complex things. She did not do that. She just said simple things. I look at broken machines every day. I understand them. I fix them. 3 years passed. Across the galaxy, something very important was happening. Other civilizations were learning about humans. They were learning about Park Mira. They were learning about what humans had done. For thousands of years, the Galactic Empire had been the most powerful force in space. Everyone did what the Empire said. Everyone was afraid of the Empire. But the Empire's power was all force. It was all weapons and big machines. It was not understanding. When Park Mira defeated Olympus, she showed the galaxy something new. She showed that understanding the system was better than just having power. Other civilizations started to think about humans differently. They started to respect humans. Some wanted to work with humans. Some wanted to learn from humans. Some wanted to send people to study with Park Mira. She did not want students. But they came anyway. Young beings from 100 different species came to the Defiant. They wanted to work with her. They wanted to learn from her. Some could not survive on the ship because the air was wrong for them, but they came anyway. Mira taught them without really trying to teach them. She just worked. She fixed machines. She showed them how to see the weak points. She showed them how to understand systems. They learned by watching her work. The Galactic Empire was not happy about this. They did not like that humans were becoming important. They did not like that other species were learning from a human woman. They tried to make it stop. They sent representatives to the military leaders. They said humans could not teach other species. It was not allowed. But the military leaders said no. Humans were free now. They could do what they wanted. The Empire was quiet for a while, but everyone knew they were not happy. Then something very important happened. The Empire sent a message. They wanted to meet with human leaders. They wanted to talk about trade. They wanted to work with humans instead of fighting them. They wanted to buy things from humans. They wanted human engineers and human mechanics and human scientists. The Empire had changed its mind. Or at least it was pretending to change its mind. Humans did not trust them, but they agreed to talk. Park Mira was not in these meetings. She was back under machines in the engine room. Mincio came and told her what was happening. The Empire wants to buy our technology now, Mincio said. They want humans to work for them, not as slaves. As workers. They want to pay us. Mira did not look up from her work. Good, she said. Let them pay. We can use the money. Are you not happy? Mincio asked. We won. The Empire is respecting us now. Mira put down her tools. She looked at Mincio. I did not win anything, she said. I just fixed a problem. The problem that needed fixing was that people did not understand machines. Now they understand better. That is all I did. I did my job. But you changed everything, Mincio said. You changed how humans are seen in the galaxy. Mira shrugged. I fixed a broken machine. That is what I do. The rest is just people learning how to think. She went back to her work, but something had changed in the galaxy, and it had started with one angry woman who knew how machines worked. 5 years after the tournament, Park Mira was working on something new. The humans were building a new kind of engine. It was experimental. Nobody really knew if it would work, but they thought it might work. It was supposed to be very powerful. It was supposed to make ships faster than anything else in the galaxy. Mira was in the laboratory space near the Defiant. It was like an engine room, but cleaner and quieter. The new engine sat in the middle of the room. It had many parts, many systems. It was very complicated. She was welding something on the side of the engine. She was thinking about the problem. There was a problem with the energy flow. The energy was not going where it needed to go. It was being lost somewhere. She needed to find where. She had been working on this problem for 2 weeks. She had tried many things. Nothing had worked yet. But she was patient. She always found the answer eventually. You just had to look carefully. There was a sound. A big ship had arrived at the station. This was not normal. Big ships did not come very often. Mira did not stop working. She finished her weld. She checked the temperature. Then she stood up and walked to the window. The ship outside was very big. It was beautiful. It had writing on the side. The writing was not in human language. It was Krell writing. The Krell were one of the most advanced species in the galaxy. They did not come to human space very often. A delegation walked onto the station. They were very tall. They had blue skin that looked like the color of the ocean. Their eyes were big and intelligent. There were 5 of them. They were led by an old Krell. He had a scar on his face. He looked like he had seen many things. The delegation walked through the station. People showed them around. They looked at everything. They looked at the ships. They looked at the weapons. They looked at the technology. Then they asked to see Park Mira. Someone came and got her. She did not want to stop working, but they said the Krell wanted to meet her. She was in the laboratory. She was wearing her old mechanic clothes. She had grease on her shirt. She had a burn mark on her arm from the welding. She did not look like a famous person. She looked like a mechanic. The old Krell leader came into the laboratory. His name was translated by the computer. It came out as something like, one who understands the deep ocean, but everyone just called him the professor. You are Park Mira, he said. His voice was like the sound of wind. Yes, she said. She did not say anything else. I am the professor, he said. I have traveled very far to meet you. I wanted to see the person who defeated Olympus. I defeated a broken machine, Mira said. That is all. The professor looked at the engine. He walked around it. He looked at everything. He touched it carefully. His eyes were very intelligent. You were working on this, he asked. Yes, Mira said. There is a problem. The energy flows do not balance. The system is not working right yet. The professor looked at the engine very carefully. He was quiet for a long time. Then he spoke. Your species has created something very interesting, he said. This design is not like anything we have built. It is not like anything the Empire has built. It is different. It is just engineering, Mira said. It is more than engineering, the professor said. It shows a different way of thinking. Your species thinks about problems in a way that other species do not think. He sat down on a chair. He was very old. He looked very wise. I have studied your victory against Olympus, he said. I have watched the recordings many times. Many times. I wanted to understand how you did this thing. I understood how the machine worked, Mira said. I found the weak points. I destroyed them. But how did you understand? The professor asked. We gave Olympus to the military. We gave it to warriors. We gave it to the greatest fighters in the galaxy. They could not understand it. They could only fight it. But you understood it. Mira thought about this question. I fix broken machines, she said. I have been doing this for many years. When you fix machines all the time, you learn how they work. You learn to see how pieces come together. You learn to find problems. When I looked at Olympus, I did not see a warrior. I saw a machine with parts. I saw systems. I saw how they connected. I looked for the problem. I found it. I fixed it. The professor was quiet. His eyes were very bright. This is what I wanted to know, he said. Your species understands systems. You understand how things connect. This is very rare in the galaxy. Most species understand power. Most species understand weapons. But your species understands something different. You understand how things work. He stood up slowly. He was very old, and it was hard to stand. I have come to ask your government for something, he said. I want to send young Krell to study with you. I want them to learn how you think. I want them to understand systems the way you understand systems. I am just a mechanic, Mira said. Exactly, the professor said. You are a mechanic who defeated a god, a mechanic who showed the galaxy that understanding is more powerful than strength. He walked to the engine. May I ask, he said, what is the problem with this engine? Mira looked at him. She did not know why, but she answered the question. The energy flows do not balance, she said. The system needs more cooling on the right side, but we do not have space for more cooling on the right side, so the energy is being lost. The professor looked at the engine. He pointed at a place on the engine. What is this? He asked. That is the central flow system, Mira said. Why does it need to be there? The professor asked. Mira thought about this. Then she understood. She walked over and looked at the system. She had been thinking about this problem all wrong. It does not have to be there, she said. I could move it. I could move it to here. Then the energy flow would be different. The cooling would work better. She looked at the professor. That is the answer, she said. I was looking at the problem wrong. I was trying to make the system work where it was. I should have looked at moving the system. The professor smiled. This is what I mean, he said. You see the problem. You understand it. You find the answer. This is the way your species thinks. This is why I have come. Within the next 3 years, many young Krell came to study with me, Ra. They learned how to think like mechanics. They learned to understand systems. They learned that every problem has an answer if you look at it from the right angle. And other species came too. Traders came. Scientists came. Young people from 100 worlds came to learn from Park Mira. She did not want to be a teacher. She just wanted to fix machines. But she taught them anyway. She showed them how to see, how to understand, how to solve problems. And across the galaxy, something was changing. Civilizations were learning to think differently. They were learning from humans. They were learning that understanding was more powerful than power. It had all started with one angry woman with a tool bag. One woman who understood machines. One woman who refused to give up. Park Mira was still in the laboratory. She was still fixing the engine. She was still just a mechanic. But she had changed the galaxy. And the most amazing thing was that she did not even know it. She just did her job. She fixed broken things. That was all. That was everything.